Hey everyone, Weekend Warrior Nate, the Overlord, here once again with another battle report with...
I'm Weekend Warrior Dave, Malidave on the website. How's everybody doing?
So it's been a while. This will be the second attempt at, second take at the new format. Again, please leave your comments below. Today we are doing a 50 Soulstone game. I am once again manning the Dreamer.
And I'm bringing the Vix for a change. I decided that I've been playing a lot of Rezzers and it's time to bring the Glass Slippers in and see how they do. I did not know he was going to take Dreamer though, so this could be a slaughter.
It's been a long time since I fought the Vix, and they still hit really hard, but I'm glad not to be buried by zombie bodies again.
Yeah.
Today's scenario is going to be the Reckoning, which is going to feed both of us as we're both beat-based crews.
Yeah.
It's actually going to feed him more than me, as I summon a lot of cheap, easy-to-kill models.
Doesn't Peons not count though?
May not.
Yeah, I don't think Peons count, so I don't think it really matters. I think we're looking at it right now.
Checking it for it. That's
a handy dandy card.
Nope, just specifies enemy models.
Okay, so maybe I do have a chance by points. I have a chance, but I'm not holding my breath.
My crew today will be the Dreamer, taking the Restless Dreams and Tantrum upgrade. Of course, he comes paired with Lord Chompy Bits. My henchman today will be the Widow Weaver with Undreaming Wings, because I love flying teddy bears. A pair of teddy bears, Coppelius, and that's it. And a Stitch Together is my starting crew. Expect Daydreams and Elves to start popping up fairly quickly into the battle.
And I'm bringing, of course, Viktoria of Blood, Viktoria of Ashes. I'm bringing 2 Ronin. I'm bringing Taylor. And while it may look like I've brought Seamus, I didn't. I'm proxying Seamus as Hans, so I am using Hans today. I thought I'd bring him in. I'm holding off to get the plastic model when it comes out. So
announced for July.
Yep. Hopefully, hope, and hope things start coming in on time. Not saying anything weird. I love you, but seriously. And then I also forgot to mention I'm bringing Vanessa. So I have the 3 sisters today. I did not bring a Student of Conflict because I don't think they're worth it. I'd rather have the Soul Stones.
You sure? I mean, fast is really handy.
It is, but the problem is the amount of cost to cast it. To give fast to one person means she gets left behind, or I have to take Sister Spirit to bring her up. It's too much. It's too long a combo, in my opinion.
Okay.
So that's why I didn't take her. I love Vanessa, and I love Vanessa and the sisters because she does a lot of really cool things for them.
Healer's always nice.
Yes, having healer is very good.
My biggest fear is going to be Taylor, as half my crew is constructs and my Lord Chompy Bits is a tyrant, which means she's going to get that free double positive with that relic hammer of hers. I'm going to have to make sure she doesn't become a huge asset for you.
Yeah, she's also hard to kill, and hard to wound.
But teddies are very good at killing things.
They are, but I don't think I'm going to let them get near her. So that's basically what we've got going on. You know, plans coming into the game, I'm going to try and use a little bit of the range that the Vix do have to begin with. We don't have to get into the center, so I don't have to go anywhere specific. This gives them a lot more maneuverability. I'm going to use Hans basically to pot shot and to remove special things, because that's the benefit of Hans, is that I want to start using him because I've been having a lot of problems with Sheng Long, so I want to learn how to use him.
His ability to remove conditions, huh?
Conditions, to take your upgrades away, and the fact that he can shoot from far away are all really big benefits. I thought putting him on the mountain would be really useful, but it's not because teddies can fly.
That is dependent on an upgrade, though.
It is. So we'll have to see how that goes.
If not, I'll probably have to shoot you or have the Stitch Together gamble with Hans's life.
Yeah.
So our scheme pool today is Protect Territory, Assassinate, Plant Evidence,
and Line in the Sand.
Line in the Sand, and I'm forgetting the last one again.
Me too, which probably means neither of us took it.
Let's see here. Take Prisoner.
Oh yeah, that's why no one took it.
That's the last one.
Yeah.
I have revealed Protect Territory.
I have revealed Plant Evidence.
The other two schemes are both unrevealed at this time, and the murdering shall commence.
Yes.
All right, and here we are back for deployment. I have the unfortunate dishonor of deploying first. We are using standard deployment for this battle. I have decided to do a mostly centralized front with both Teddies, the Widow Weaver, Dreamer, and Stitch together, taking the center field. This allows me to spread the abilities amongst the models. The Widow Weaver specifically, as she is granting out +1 movement and flight to all the models that are within 6 inches of her. Minus the Dreamer, who only gets the flight ability, but he's incorporeal anyways as a spirit, so he doesn't really need it. Way over here on the side, I have Copelas, who is stalking off on his own. I tend to run Copelas as a scheme runner, as he has the efficiency and durability to survive on his own. We'll see if it works for him this game, or if I need to bring him in as a flanker later on. He's also very good as a hammer on the side. Dave?
Okay, so I've got Taylor connected with Viktoria of Ashes, and then a Ronin. I've got Viktoria of Blood kind of sitting in the middle by herself. Another Ronin right here. I've got Vanessa right there. And then Hans, who may look like Seamus, but it's Hans, is perched up top.
Fantastic. And with that, we will begin turn 1.
Turn 1 begins in earnest. Dave, winning initiative, selects Hans to go first. He performs a focus action, followed by a referencing of the field guide as a 0 action. His final attack, with his effective 36-inch range, targets the Widow Weaver. This attack hits, inflicting 5 damage and slow. Overlord responds by activating Widow Weaver, who heals 3 damage thanks to the Dreamer. She performs a walk action, and as a 0 action deploys a web marker, ending her turn as she is slow. Malidave activates Vanessa, performs a Fates Entwined as a 0 action, and performs a double walk. Overlord then activates Copelas, who performs a walk and a defensive action. Malidave activates a Ronin and performs a double walk. This is followed up by the Overlord performing a double walk of a Teddy, moving it to block the Widow Weaver, potentially screening it from any future shooting attacks. Malidave then selects Taylor to perform a double walk. Overlord then selects Grumpy to do a double walk. Activating the second Ronin, Malidave performs a double walk. Activating the Dreamer, Overlord performs a walk action, and attempts to cast Empty Night on the Weaver. The ability succeeds, healing Widow Weaver for 2 damage after a cheat to get the proper suit. His final action is to cast Daydreaming, which fails due to a black joker. Next is Viktoria of Ash. She performs a double walk action, uses her 0 action to cast East of West, and finishes off her activation by attempting to shoot Champ Bear, the Teddy, and misses. Overlord's final activation is Stitch Together, who performs a double walk, flying over everything thanks to Undreaming Wings, and attempts to cast Creepy Fog, and fails. For the final activation of the turn, Malidave has Viktoria Blood perform a double walk. This concludes turn 1. Victory point scores 0-0 on to turn 2. After both players have soul-stoned for additional cards, Malidave wins the initiative, marks the center of the board, and has Vanessa walk, triggering walk ley lines and intuition. As a 0 action, she casts Command Construct targeting the Stitch Together, which succeeds. The Stitch Together then proceeds to cast Gamble of Your Life against the Dreamer, which also succeeds, inflicting 3 damage upon the Dreamer. Her final action is to attack the Stitch Together with an Arcane Staff, which misses due to a red joker and the Stitch Together's defense. Overlord responds by activating Grumpy Bear. Grumpy Bear casts Gobble You Up targeting Viktoria of Ash. The attack succeeds, which places him in base-to-base contact with her, also triggering the Smell Fear reaction, getting a free melee attack, which hits at a -1 accuracy, but flicks Black Joker for damage. Overlord then discards a card for Flurry. The first attack hits straight for 4 damage, which triggers a Soulstone Prevention for 2. The second melee attack misses, as does the third, ending his activation. Malidave then activates Taylor, who performs a charge against Grumpy Bear. The attack hits with a +1 accuracy, inflicting 4 damage. Second attack hits as well with a +2 accuracy, inflicting 6 damage. He then uses Taylor's accomplice ability to activate Viktoria of Ashes, who opens up with Dragon's Bite, allowing the sisters to move into base contact with the target. Since Viktoria of Ash and Viktoria of Blood are already in base contact, this is moot. The importance is it allows them both to perform a melee attack. Viktoria of Ash opens up with a melee attack, hitting a neutral flip, inflicting 6 damage, killing the Teddy. Her second action is to shoot the Stitch together, which misses, finishing up her turn with the 0 action, Setting Sun. Overlord then activates the Dreamer, who casts Daydreaming 3 times. Succeeds all 3, one of which with the extra trigger, allowing him to summon 2 Daydreams and an Owl. His final action, thanks to Restless Dreams giving him Ranged Expert, is to cast Twist Reality, targeting Viktoria of Blood, which hits at a -1 accuracy, inflicting 2 damage. This brings his waking condition to 4, allowing him to spawn into Lord Chompy. In response, Malidave has Viktoria of Blood charge Lord Chompy Bits, performing the following star action. The first attack hits at a -1 accuracy, inflicting 6 damage. Chompy Bits does a Soulstone prevention for 1. The second attack hits, inflicting 3 damage, killing Lord Chompy Bits, which then triggers Whirlwind, putting the Daydream in range, and the attack hits at a +1 accuracy and inflicting 6 damage, killing the Daydream outright and scoring the first victory point of the game. Thanks to End of the Fray, Viktoria heals 2 hit points. Champ Bear then activates, casting Gobble You Up, targeting Viktoria of Blood. The attack succeeds, placing him in base contact with her, and triggering Smell Fear. This attack misses. Discarding a card to activate Flurry, Teddy then performs 3 melee attacks. The first attack misses. The second attack hits at a neutral modifier, inflicting 4 damage. Blood does a Soulstone prevention for 2. The third attack, hits at a neutral modifier, inflicting 4 damage, again Soulstone preventing 2. Malidave then selects Hans, taking advantage of his ability to ignore randomization in combat, targets the Teddy. The first shot hits, with a neutral modifier, inflicting 3 damage. The second shot also hits, with a neutral modifier, inflicting 2 damage. Eager to retaliate, Overlord knocks over the Widow Weaver while declaring Viktoria Blood as the target for Stitch Together's Gamble on Your Life. The first attack succeeds, inflicting 4 damage of Viktoria Blood, which she then Soulstone prevents 3 damage. A second attempt to Gamble on Your Life fails, inflicting 4 damage on the Stitch Together. The Ronin, engaged a Champ Barrier, attempts to attack, and gets paralyzed by fear. The surviving Daydream casts Lord Nightmares on the Widow Weaver, ending its activation due to slow because of being summoned this turn. Then, using the Accomplice ability, Widow Weaver activates, deploys a Web Marker as a 0 action, and casts Exhale Terror against Viktoria Blood. The attack hits with a +1 accuracy, inflicting 5 damage, killing the Viktoria Blood. Widow Weaver decides to pass her second action. Malidave checks the range of the Ronin and decides to attempt to shoot a shot at the Dreamer. The attack hits at a -1 accuracy, inflicting 2 damage. Dreamer Soulstone prevents one of those. Overlord activates Copelis to perform a double walk. For the final activation of the turn, Overlord activates the Alp, attempts to perform a melee attack against Vanessa, which misses. As the Alp is summoned, this concludes his turn. At the end of turn 2, the score is 1 VP to Malidave, 0 for the Overlord, due to Reckoning being scored. On the turn 3. Winning initiative again, Malidave activates Taylor and declares a charge against the Dreamer. The first melee attack hits the Dreamer, and the Dreamer activates Safe in My Bed, which passes the damage to Stitch Together. The attack inflicts 4 damage, which kills the Stitch Together, bypassing his hard to kill thanks to Taylor's trigger. The second melee attack misses. Using Taylor's companion ability, Viktoria of Ash charges into the Champ Bear. The first melee attack hits at a -2 modifier, but flips a red joker on the damage, inflicting 9 damage to the Teddy and killing it. She then activates Sisters in battle. Overlord, taking his first activation of the third turn, activates the Dreamer. His first attempt is to cast Daydream, which fails due to a black joker. His second action is to cast Daydreaming again, which succeeds, allowing him to summon a Daydream. His third action is to cast Empty Night upon himself, which succeeds and heals the Dreamer for 2 damage. Thanks to Range Expert and the upgrade, he then uses Twist Reality on Taylor, which hits at a -2 modifier, inflicting 1 damage and paralyzing Taylor, and leaving Dreamer at a Waking +2. Malidave then activates Vanessa, who, due to proximity to the Alp, has to pass a willpower test to force Mother. The test fails, which inflicts 1 damage to Vanessa and gives her the slow condition. She performs a melee attack against the nearby Daydream, which fails. Using a second melee attack thanks to Melee Expert, granted by being line of sight to Viktoria of Ash, the second attack hits at a minus modifier and does 1 damage. Overlord then activates Coppelius, who performs a walk action to engage the Ronin, as Ronins cannot be charged. The attack hits at a -1 accuracy, inflicting 1 damage and granting Coppelius an eyeball. In response, Malidave activates the Ronin, who discards a card to trigger Flurry and performs 3 melee attacks against Coppelius. All 3 attacks miss. He finishes the activation by having the Ronin commit Seppuku, granting 2 additional soul stones to his pool. Next up, the Widow Weaver activates. She performs a walk action and deploys a web marker. This places enough web markers around the Ronin in order to activate Seize Prey. The attack hits, placing the Widow Weaver in base-to-base contact with the Ronin, inflicting poison +5 and paralyze, as well as discarding the web markers. This is followed by Malidave activating Hans, who targets the Daydream and hits at a neutral accuracy, inflicting 3 damage and killing the Daydream. His second shot targets another Daydream, which also hits, but only inflicts 1 damage. In response, Overlord activates the Daydream and uses Lucid Night, which sacrifices the Daydream and grants a mask to the cast actions of the Dreamer. Malidave, out of models, allows the Overlord to finish his activations. The Alp activates, performs a melee attack against Vanessa, which hits at a neutral accuracy, inflicting 1 damage, and slow on Vanessa, which triggers the Feed ability, inflicting an additional damage due to her gaining slow. The Alp's second melee attack misses. This concludes turn 3. The Ronin takes its point of damage from poison, and Malidave scores another VP due to Reckoning, bringing the final total to Malidave, 0 Overlord. After Malidave has soulstoned to draw additional cards and to reflip initiative, the Overlord wins the initiative. Activating Dreamer, he targets Viktoria of Ash with Twist Reality. The attack hits at a -2 accuracy, but flips the red joker for damage, inflicting 4 damage on Viktoria. His second action is to cast Daydreaming, which passes, and summons a Daydream, and transports and summons Lord Chompy Bits. Malidave then activates Viktoria of Ash, who uses East to West, then performs a melee attack against Lord Chompy Bits. The attack hits at a -1 accuracy, inflicting 3 damage. Second melee attack hits, again at a -1 accuracy, inflicting 3 damage. Viktoria of Ash's third melee attack also hits, this time at a neutral, inflicting enough damage to kill Lord Chompy Bits. Overlord then activates Coppelius, who charges Viktoria of Ash. Both melee attacks miss. He uses his eyeball to trigger Savor Delicacy, healing the Dreamer for 2 damage. This is followed by Vanessa activating. Using the Leyline Stone Leash, heals herself and Viktoria of Ash 3 damage, and drawing a card. She then performs a melee attack, targeting the Daydream, hitting at a -1 accuracy, inflicting 2 damage, and killing the Daydream. Widowweaver then activates, performs a walk action, and deploys another web marker. She then targets Viktoria of Ash with Exile Terror, which hits at a -2 accuracy, but does 0 damage due to Black Joker. Hans is then activated, once again targeting the Widowweaver. The first attack hits at a neutral modifier, inflicting 3 damage. His second shot also hits at a -2 accuracy, still inflicting 3 damage. Overlord activates his ALP. He performs a melee attack targeting Vanessa. The attack hits at a -1 accuracy and inflicts 1 damage. The second attack misses. As the Ronin and Taylor are paralyzed, there are no remaining activations, thus concluding turn 4. The Ronin takes another point of poison damage, and Malidave scores his 3rd victory point for Reckoning, bringing the total 3 Malidave, 0 Overlord. Turn 5 begins with Malidave activating Viktoria of Ash. Performs a melee attack on the Dreamer. The attack hits at a -1 accuracy, inflicting 2 damage. She then targets Copelas. First attack hits, inflicting 4 damage. The second attack hits, and thanks to our red Joker, inflicts 9 damage, killing Copelas. Overlord activates Dreamer, who performs a Twist Reality on Viktoria of Ash. The attack hits at a -1 accuracy, inflicting 2 damage. Performs another Twist Reality, which hits again at a -1 accuracy, inflicting 1 damage, thanks to his shooting expert. Performs a third Twist Reality, which hits again at a -1 accuracy, inflicting 1 damage. He uses his last action point to summon a Daydream, which is successful, which brings it to Waking +4 and summons Lord Chompy Bits. Malidave activates Vanessa, who is still slow. Performing a Leyline Stone Leash, heals herself and Viktoria of Ash 2 damage each. Widowweaver then activates, deploys another web marker, and casts Seize Prey on Taylor. The attack succeeds, pushing Widowweaver within base contact, inflicting 5 poison and paralyze on Taylor. Next up to bat, Hans targets Lord Chompy Bits with a shooting attack. The first attack hits at a neutral modifier, inflicting 3 damage and slow. Second attack misses. Overlord then activates the Daydream, targeting Lord Chompy Bits with Lure Nightmares. The ability succeeds, pushing Lord Chompy Bits 4 inches forward, putting him in range to be accomplished. Immediately activating Lord Chompy Bits, he performs a melee attack on Viktoria of Ash. The attack hits at a -1 accuracy, inflicting 2 damage. Using Melee Expert, he attacks again at a +1 accuracy, inflicting 2 damage and triggering Onslaught. This free melee attack misses. For the final activation of the game, the Ronin charges the Daydream. First melee attack misses. Second melee attack hits at a -2 accuracy, inflicting 1 damage. This brings the game to conclusion. Failing to score enough kills for another point of reckoning brings the final total: Malidave, 3 victory points, Overlord, 0.
And we're back for the post-battle. The final victory point score is 3-0 to Dave. Congratulations.
Thank you.
So what'd you think, Dave?
It was a nail-biter. I think my VP of this game, and I'm just going to point it out right now, is actually Nate's deck. I would like to thank Nate's deck for making me look like a better player than I am. Without this deck, my success would not have happened.
I flipped Black Joker every single turn in the game. One turn I think I flipped it twice. Usually my control hand, the highest card in my hand was an 8 or a 9. There's twice I saw face cards in my hand. So it was terrible for that.
He needs to retire it.
I think the puppet deck needs to go and break.
Send him a new deck.
Decks aside.
This was there was a lot of funny things to this deck. We both, when it came down to that one thing, we wouldn't tell you what was our hidden scheme. It was assassinate for both of us,
Which neither of us succeeded.
couldn't get it off no matter what. And the funny thing was that I knew I was in trouble. I picked these schemes before I knew he was playing, and then he said I'm playing Dreamer, and I was like, haha, I'm never going to assassinate. And I was the closest. I think, a couple times.
Dreamer was hovering at 2 wounds. I've had Dreamer, he's done enough damage to kill Dreamer twice throughout the course of the game. I managed to summon Lord Chompy Bits almost every turn of the game, except for the first turn, because I didn't emphasize it turn 1. 3 of the times he got summoned, he got immediately killed as soon as he hit the board. 2 of the times.
2 of the times. The third time he did live, but Hans slowed him, which means he couldn't get his 3 attacks off. He could only get 2.
But I got 3 anyways.
With Onslaught.
I managed to use a Daydream to lure him into Ash. Had the perfect opportunity when she Black Jokered her defense, and I double weaked my plus flip for damage, and had nothing to cheat.
Greatest player in the game. His deck. So, yeah, I brought a couple things that Nate's never seen before in this game, and I think that's really what helped me. I brought the Hans. He'd never dealt with Hans before, and Hans is really cool. He was, you know, it was funny. Nate's like, you're just leaving him up there on there? He can't get down. I was like, I know.
Well, I'm fine. I don't expect that. We had him deployed originally on what was defined as impassable terrain, meaning unless I could fly or shoot, I couldn't get to him, which is where the discussion came on there. We decided to change the terrain to be tiered to allow models to climb up in case they ever got close enough to engage Hans. The idea of deploying in a terrain piece that you can't be assaulted on is not new and a fantastic strategy if your opponent will allow you to do it.
Right.
So you always just it's always a gray area when you're trying to deploy on top of impassable terrain.
The big thing was that his 36 range at the beginning, and then after the first turn, it didn't matter. I mean, I did huge damage on the Weaver at the beginning, which kind of like freaked things out a little bit, and I think it changed the strategy a little bit. The Teddy, instead of coming at me, moved off to protect her. So it slowed down the Teddies a little bit. The big things that I think happened, well, no, you got your Teddies in there, but hear me out. At points he was very defensive, and at other points, you really gung-ho. And I think the first thing is you never put a Teddy between both of the Viktorias.
You keep saying both as if blood mattered to that equation. Taylor did all the damage herself. As you saw, turn 2, I did the reckless attempt to do a turn 2 assassination with Teddy. The intention wasn't actually to kill Ash. It was to inflict a severe amount of damage and force him to burn resources, which I did make him burn a Soul Stone and almost half his control hand that turn, which was great. I knew Teddy was going to be killed by Taylor. It's Taylor versus the Teddy. A double positive in the damage flip is going to wreck my day, even with impossible to wound, which actually I think I forgot about when we did that whole damage thing. Still wouldn't have survived it. Impossible. Not hard. You don't ignore impossible. Nothing ignores impossible.
Oh, okay.
To my knowledge, something ignores impossible. So,
right.
The intention of that was inflicting maximum damage and throwing away a Teddy. I know Teddy's an expensive model to be a sacrifice play for, but it radically forced his army to shift. He immediately went into a pucker factor, had to commit Taylor to the fight, keeping Taylor out of the immediate front lines, allowing me to approach her more manageably later in the game. He actually managed to walk into my trap of webs, which kept Taylor out of the back half of the game because I kept her paralyzed for 2 turns straight, thanks to the Widow Weaver.
She was good. Widow Weaver is always great. I think she's awesome. I think the one thing that, actually, if we're going to talk about my best character, it's going to be Vanessa. Vanessa is just sneaky because you don't think much of her because I put her into one spot, it's on the line, and she's done. But she did a couple tricksy things. The taking your Stitch Together and making your Stitch Together do things against your Dreamer.
Yep.
That was cool. Her ability to just heal, and the fact that she has a sister, so she gets when there's line of sight, she can do her 2-point heal, and she gets to hit something. So she was taking out she took out a couple of daydreams.
The sisters and spirit ability to heal amongst each other was the godsend of his army. Blood managed to kill a model, which healed a little bit of damage I had on the sisters early on. Vanessa performed her healing action twice, which did enough damage to keep Ash on the field. So 3 times he managed to pull off healing effects, which mitigated or removed all the damage I had done to Ash. I almost killed her 3 times throughout the course of the game. Yeah, definitely twice.
Blood helped too. I mean, I call them the glass slipper princesses because they're like the glass cannon. But when you put Vanessa into it, they're really not. And that's the thing, is everyone thinks of them as a glass cannon. And I'm going to tell you that Vanessa was what's missing. If you're a Vic player and you don't have Vanessa, I don't know what you're doing. But
Like you not running a Zamu with me again, low?
Yeah, it's like me not. She's really great because she takes away from that worry that everyone has that they only have 7 hit points apiece, and makes it a really, really vicious crew because, you know, Viktoria Blood has a heal once per turn. She has the heal. That gives them a lot more resilience, and they're able to go out and do more stuff. I have to say, putting Lord Chompy Bits out anywhere where they can be charged by either of the Viktorias, it was a tough thing too, because they have if there's one thing they can do is they can kill one model.
It's very true. So a lot of times Lord Chompy Bits' appearances were hoping that he would survive, not entirely expecting it, especially after the first time that he was charged and murdered in a single activation. But every time Lord Chompy Bits hit the field, it was an immediate distraction for Dave, where he had to commit his biggest gun available to killing Chompy. A lot of my attempts were diversionary, summoning models for the sake. Unfortunately, as predicted, my summoning did provide him Reconnoiter, because every turn he was able to off an Alp or off a Daydream very quickly and easily. So most of his Reconnoitering was killing Lord Chompy Bits and a Daydream, 2 models that I summoned in the course of the turn.
Yeah. I also have to say that, like, as an error in playing, so you guys want to not do what I did, I got into kill mode. I got into kill mode because I thought it's Reconnoiter and that's what they do. But in the getting into kill mode, I forgot to plant evidence. I mean, I had a Ronin who could have just run off and planted evidence, but didn't. I had another Ronin who could have run off, planted evidence.
If the one on the left had moved off, Copelis was going to intercept.
Right, but I only need to place 1 or 2, and you needed to. The thing is that if I can get 2 down, and you have to move Copelis to help, you know, the Dreamer, which you did, or to continue to take care of my big hitters. If I get 2, I get 3.
Well, again, Copelis was running that direction. Had the Ronin run off, because you had to get to my side of the board for plant evidence, he would have diverted to her first, which is what he did anyways. His first actions were against her and used her as a leaping stone to get into the middle of the fight.
Right.
What I should have done is had him go off and go drop some markers, because the nice part is because of Protect Territory, with all the fighting taking place in the middle, if I had dropped 2 scheme markers in the middle of that brawl, I would have scored my victory points, my 3 victory points for Protect Territory. Problem is I never had a model I could pull away from the fight long enough to do it, because I could never get ahead enough to get a little bit of breathing space. I was constantly having to go on the offensive or super defensive to mitigate what you were doing on your turn.
Yeah.
I was never in a position to tackle Hans. I was never in a position to tackle Vanessa, because Ash and Blood tanked my entire crew with the help of Vanessa.
And Taylor.
Not really. Taylor killed a Teddy and then got paralyzed, essentially.
But you had to put a lot of effort to make her stay paralyzed.
Yeah. Committing the Widow Weaver to keep something paralyzed, that's what she does. She's a support model more than anything. The Widow Weaver managed to paralyze a Ronin, Taylor, and Taylor again throughout the course of the game. She more than made up her points by keeping a ton of models on the field, plus her position gave everything flight, which meant moving was not a problem for me. I didn't have to worry about the ruins. I was just able to fly over everything and get everywhere I needed to be. Weaver did her job fantastically. The only thing that she failed on for me was doing that last point of damage to Ash on the last turn. After she paralyzed Taylor, her last action was to try to attack Ash and failed.
Yeah.
Not much I could have done about that.
No. And I also Reconnoiter. I love Ronins because they're so rude. They go off, they do whatever they want to do, and then when I'm like, okay, you've done your job, I sacrificed them, and which keeps him from getting victory points, and 2, gave me the soul stones I needed to continue on with the battle. Because at one point I sacked one, and I really needed it, because I only had 1 soul stone left. I sacked it, allowed me to get 3, and I still needed that, because without that soul stone prevention, I would have been dead.
Only model I killed the entire game was Blood. That was it. He blew up a Ronin, and that's all. All the victory points scored this game were from him getting Reckoning. Neither of us managed to score either of our schemes.
But we both tried.
We both tried. I probably overcommitted into Assassinate, but considering I was never in a position to score victory points for Reckoning, there wasn't much choice in the matter for me. So all in all, a good game.
Yeah.
My deck needs to go to sleep for a little bit. One thing that we noticed after the battle is there was a slight mistake with the use of Blood's plus flips.
Yes.
There is a possibility that Blood could have been killed sooner with the champ Teddy attacking her, but it wasn't worth going back to check at that point.
Right. Because once I did realize what I was doing wrong, we reversed a little bit, and I backtracked, and Blood died. Because I realized what had happened. And so we went back. It gets confusing because, like, if Viktoria has, if you have a full hand, Viktoria gets a bonus. And if you have less than 3 cards, Viktoria gets a bonus. Problem is you have to remember Blood gets what and Ashes gets the other. And that's where I made a mistake. So it was a game mistake. When I did catch it, we went back. Yeah, Blood may have died a little sooner to a Teddy. The Teddy would have still died, but
Yeah.
Might have changed the game a little bit. Other than that, I think that's the only big error we made.
Right.
I have to remember that Lord Chompy Bits is a henchman, because then Hans can kill him. So, other than that,
Lots of people can kill him. Thanks for watching. Please like, link, and subscribe to the Weekend Warriors channel, A Weird Place, and the Wargamers Consortium.
and play more Malfo.